Game 24 of the Premier League is upon us. Fletch is back, hopefully more consistently. I've had a bit of a break, so I'm back, I'm refreshed, I'm focused. We're getting back in with the Premier League predictions. Like I said, game 24, games are coming thick and fast. Let's get this underway. And we're going to begin with the Premier League leaders. We're going to begin with the Premier League leaders, Liverpool, and for them it must have felt like an eternity since they last played a game. And the same can actually be said about Leicester, after both sides were not in any kind of FA Cup or Carabao Cup action this past week. So it's been 11 days since they were both in action in the Premier League. But the last time they were in action, both sides did suffer polar opposite results last time out. Liverpool kept up their title pursuit with a 4-3 victory over Brighton, whilst Leicester also played out the same result with Wolves, but were on the wrong side following a late Wolves winner. Will the Reds keep up their title charge here, or will Leicester put a dent in their title aspirations and get back to winning ways? On their day, Leicester can beat anyone. We've already seen them this season beat Manchester City and Chelsea, and who's to say they can't beat Jurgen Klopp's side here? However, with the pressure that Leicester and Club Puel are under right now, and their defensive issues that are clearly apparent in recent weeks for the Foxes, it's hard to see any other result than a Liverpool victory. If they are to win, Jamie Vardy will be crucial, but I can only see one winner, and that's Liverpool, and I'm going to predict that the Reds are going to win 3-0, with Salah scoring twice and Roberto Firmino also getting on the score sheet. Next we come to Manchester City, looking to keep up their pressure on Liverpool, whilst their opponents Newcastle are not just looking to upset the odds here, but they're obviously hurt City's title chances further, but also they're looking to put a bit of a gap between them and the drop zone. It's been a busy week for Man City. Last time out in the Premier League, they beat Huddersfield in a comfortable 3-0 win, professionally saw out the remainder of their second leg Carabao Cup tie with Burton Albion, and then were 5-0 winners against Burnley in the FA Cup this past weekend, as they soldier on, competing on all fronts in the hunt for trophies. As for Newcastle, a 3-0 win against Cardiff in their last Premier League outing, but they did suffer defeat to Watford last weekend in the FA Cup. So the question remains, will City put pressure on Liverpool with a win here, or will the Magpies throw a spanner in the works for Pep Guardiola's side? City have a chance to put pressure on Liverpool by playing 24 hours before the Reds do, and despite competing on multiple fronts this past week or so, with the scenarios placed in front of them and the quality and depth that they possess, they've rotated the squad well. Newcastle will look to be tight, try and snatch something either on the counter-attack or a set piece, but I can't see City dropping any points here. 3-0 City is what I'm predicting. Leroy Sané, Raheem Sterling and Kevin De Bruyne all to get on the score sheet. Our next game sees the Cherries take on the Blues as Bournemouth play host to Chelsea, who are looking to bounce back in the Premier League from their defeat last time out to Arsenal, and are looking to get back on track and strengthen their hold of a top 4 spot, whilst Bournemouth are looking to pick up back-to-back wins for the first time in the Premier League since October after defeating West Ham by 2-0 last time out. Will Eddie Howe's men achieve that here, or will Maurizio Sarri's side bounce back and keep up their hold of a top 4 spot? Chelsea, coming off the back of 2 cup victories as well this week, will see them going into the game in good spirits, along with their new loan signing, Gonzalo Higuain, who may have his first experience of Premier League action on a cold Wednesday night in Bournemouth. And the question is, can he hit the ground running? Because if he does, Chelsea will almost be a certainty to remain within the top 4. As for Bournemouth, they've been hot and cold as of late, despite starting off the season really, really hot. And whilst a draw is certainly possible, I'm going to stick my neck out on the line and say that the unknown entity, well, sort of unknown entity of Higuain within the Premier League may give Chelsea the edge. 2-1 Chelsea, Higuain to score the winner, Hazard to open the scoring, and Callum Wilson to reply for the Cherries. Our next game brings us to the Emirates as Arsenal host Cardiff City. Arsenal have had a bit of a miserable weekend in contrast to the previous weekend where they were celebrating a 2-0 victory over rivals Chelsea. But fast forward to under a week later, and in FA Cup action, the Gunners were defeated by Manchester United. As for Cardiff, no FA Cup action this past weekend, but last weekend they were on the receiving end of a 3-0 defeat to Newcastle. Will the Gunners bounce back from defeat here from their defeat to United here, or will Cardiff only add to Arsenal's woes? Earlier this season, Cardiff gave Arsenal a tough test, and I'm expecting the same to happen here. Arsenal's defensive issues are no secret, and I'm sure Cardiff will be looking to exploit that from open play and on the counter-attack, as United did last Friday night. But at the other end, we know how dangerous Arsenal can be with the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette, and we know that Cardiff's defence, a bit like Arsenal's, has a tendency to switch off at crucial times. Will we get another 3-2 here to the Arsenal? I don't think so, but I'm still going for an Arsenal win. I think 2-1, Lacazette and Aubameyang both to get on the score sheet. Next, we come to the league's in-form team right now in Manchester United, and under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they're still undefeated and are yet to drop any points under their former striker. 8 games unbeaten in all competitions, and things are looking the complete opposite to how they were looking over a month or so ago at Old Trafford, with their latest victories coming against Brighton in the league and Arsenal in the FA Cup. As for their opponents this week, they are Burnley. They've gone 4 games unbeaten in the league, but did get knocked out of the FA Cup this past weekend at the hands of Manchester City. Will United and Solskjaer make it 9 unbeaten, or will Burnley end that streak? Burnley look to aid their battle against relegation, whilst United look to continue their pursuit of a top 4 finish. Both sides have something to play for. United have the momentum, Burnley have the ability to cause an upset, creating a fascinating encounter. But with all that being said, I think the quality of United and the clinicalness that they've shown in recent weeks will be too much for Sean Dyche's men. I'm going to say a 3-1 victory to the Red Devils. Pogba and a Rashford brace is what I'm predicting the score and the scorers to be. For our next game, we're going to go to the bottom of the table, and it's Huddersfield who begin a new chapter in their lives under new manager Jan Sievert, as he is the man appointed with the task of saving Huddersfield from Premier League relegation. Huddersfield suffered defeat to Manchester City last time out, but will look to see if the new manager syndrome will take effect here against an Everton side who are very inconsistent to say the least. The Toffees lie in 11th and have suffered a miserable week themselves. Last time out in the Premier League, they were defeated by Southampton, and this past weekend in FA Cup action, they were on the receiving end of an upset at the hands of Championship side Millwall. Will Jan Sievert begin life at Huddersfield with a victory here, or will the Toffees only add to the Huddersfield misery? Always hard to predict a game where a new manager takes charge, but it's even more difficult when their opponents are as inconsistent as what Everton are this season. And with that being said, I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. This match is difficult to call as it is, therefore it's more of a wild guess than an educated one. Our next game, it sees Fulham take on Brighton. Fulham side looking to gain a victory that will be used to aid their fight against relegation. But as for the Seagulls, they're looking to get back to winning ways following back-to-back losses in the Premier League and then a goalless draw against Championship side West Brom in the FA Cup. Will Claudio Ranieri's side get the victory they desperately need here, or will Brighton add to Fulham's woes? It's a big game for Fulham. They suffered a last-minute goal to lose to Tottenham last time out, but there were positives to take from that loss, especially in their new signing, Ryan Babel, who looked pretty decent on his Premier League return. Brighton are much a better side at home than they are away, but talking about defensively, they're still a tough nut to crack either way, but they are much better at home, so Fulham may fancy their chances here, but it's not all a foregone conclusion. It will be interesting to see how this game pans out. I'm going to predict a 2-1 Brighton win here. Next game on the list features 15th taking on 14th as Southampton host Crystal Palace. Southampton have enjoyed a decent start to life under Ralph Hasenhüttl, The Saints are 3 points clear of the drop zone and won their last Premier League outing against Everton 2-1. As for Palace, a valiant effort against Liverpool despite being on the wrong end of a 4-3 result, but bounced back in FA Cup action by knocking out Tottenham. Which side will take the spoils here? Palace are another side who can be hot and cold in various matches. Southampton are sort of the same, although in recent weeks they've tightened up and become more of a force again. This game should be interesting, could go either way. Both sides are obviously capable of hurting each other and both sides have mistakes within them. If you're pressing me for a prediction, I'm going to say 2-2. I can't give the edge to either side because it's another tough game to predict, but a draw prediction seems the likely result. In the penultimate game on this list, Wolves host West Ham. Both sides were in FA Cup action this past weekend, with Wolves rescuing a late replay thanks to a late equaliser against Shrewsbury, whilst West Ham were eliminated in what was an FA Cup shock by League One side Wimbledon. Wolves will be looking to build more momentum here from the last time out in their Premier League tie against Leicester, where they won 4-3, whilst West Ham will be looking to bounce back from their last defeat. Which side will get what they want here? Two sides that can be pretty much Jekyll and Hyde. Wolves have proven to be tough opposition for most sides this season, whilst West Ham possess the quality to give anybody a tough game. But also both sides have a tendency to be lackluster and poor in some games. I don't know, this game could go any which way, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Wolves. I think whilst West Ham may have more quality, I think they're quite vulnerable defensively, especially on the counter-attack. And as we've seen in recent weeks and even throughout the entire season, Wolves can be devastating on the counter-attack. And that's why I'm giving them the slight edge and I'm predicting that Wolves will win 3-2. Our final game sees a Spurs side with their resources being stretched host a Watford side looking to continue for a high finish in the Premier League, and will be looking to take advantage of a Tottenham side who have been knocked out of both domestic cup competitions this past week. Tottenham's injuries to key players like Harry Kane and Dele Alli haven't helped this past week, but the one shining light for them is that they welcome back Son Heung-min, who's back following his absence with South Korea on international duty. As for the Hornets, they are unbeaten in their last 6 games in all competitions, making for a very interesting tie ahead. Could Tottenham bounce back here from their cup exits and tighten their grip on a top 4 finish? Or will Watford stretch their unbeaten run to 7? It's a big game for Spurs this. Son may be back, but is it enough firepower up front to hurt Watford? We all know Watford have the ability to hurt Spurs, and we've already seen it this season when the Hornets beat Mauricio Pochettino's side earlier in the campaign. But if they can stop Christian Eriksen from creating anything for Son or Llorente to get on the end of and eliminate the threats out wide of Eric Lamela and Moussa Sissoko, Watford have every chance of winning this game. I'm going to go for a slightly surprising prediction, but I think it will happen. Watford to again win against Tottenham by 2-1. Troy Deeney and Gerard Deulofeu with the goals. And that wraps up the prediction show for game 24 of the Premier League season 2018-2019. Guys, if you have any predictions yourself on any of the games that I've talked about, leave them in the comment section below, whether it's score lines, goal scorers, amount of corners, yellow cards, red cards, whether you've had a bet on. I don't care what it is. If it's about these games, I'd love to hear what you have to say about them down below. Otherwise, guys, hit that thumbs up on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. That'd be very much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Premier League prediction show. And I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.